Yeah, record. There we go. Right. Good morning, Linus. Very nice to have you with me for the very short interview. How are you?
Yeah, Hagsy, thank you so much for having me on. I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, not bad at all. I mean, I say not bad, but it's kind of pouring outside and is affecting everything I'm doing in my life. But so whereabout are you at the
Yeah.
moment? You're on tour, aren't you?
We are. We got back from Poole the other day, and now we're back in London for a couple of days before we head to Belfast on Thursday.
Wow, is that where you're primarily based in London?
Yeah. So I live in London.
Ah, fantastic. Ah, good to know that. Okay, well, I think everybody's very interested to hear about what Diana's all about. Can you give us a very quick overview on this untold and supposedly untrue story?
So Diana the Untold and Untrue story is a very silly, stupid, queer take on Diana. I mean, as a person, a myth, a legend, and also her life, the events we all know very well, but we very much play with how they actually happened and the truth to give, I guess, the version we wish she'd have rather than what she actually, I mean, how they actually played out. So it sort of combines drag and multimedia and puppetry and a lot of audience participation. Um, and yeah, just a lot of queer joy. Um, yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. Really good to hear. And also, I will be asking about this, as you will know, about the improv and audience participation nature of it, because I'm sure many people like me, they are extremely wary and probably terrified by the word of audience participation, but more on that later. So, what what inspired you to create Diana in the first place?
It started as a birthday gift for my mother-in-law. So she's a big Diana fan, and sort of for years I've always sent her various Diana gifts, like sort of the weirdest, tackiest things we could find online. We used to send to her. So it would be like wristwatches with her face, or teaspoons, or we found this like big plaster bust that barely looked like Diana, and we always would send those to her. Um, and she'd find it hilarious. So then when she turned 60 in the spring of 2021, I thought I'm gonna write her something Diana themed, with sort of like Diana speaking to her and telling her about her life. Um, and I sort of wrote what later became the show. It was quite a different version back then, but I was having so much fun creating this story. And then we all read it out together and we had a laugh about it. And then I didn't really think about it for a while. But when I was looking at what to do next, I sort of found this script and I was like, maybe this would be fun. Would this work as a solo show? And I started working it. And I just had a lot of fun with it. So yeah, here we are.
Well, it clearly has been a success. There has been some fantastic and amazing reviews that I've seen on the internet. But speaking of which,
Including
I
yours,
mean,
of course.
yes, exactly. But I look forward to seeing it again very soon as well. So actually, I mean, before we move on the question, first, very silly kind of take on this. Um, you said that you've sent all these gifts to your mother-in-law that are tacky. Has she kept any of them? I think that is an important question.
Oh, she's kept them all. I mean, she loves it. The bust is like it's next to the dining table on the windowsill. Um, so yeah, she's got them all. And now since I started working on the show, all I'm getting now are various Diana gifts. So I've got some very, very interesting ones.
I mean, don't tell her it comes from me, but maybe you can repurpose some of them and just send them forward as next year's gift. Um,
Oh, I do love them though. I don't want to part with them.
well, I mean, it just adds a little shrine of collections, I guess.
Yeah.
So So like you mentioned earlier, touching on this, is that you mentioned there is a bit of improv, a bit of audience participation. So, given the style of this particular production, do you think there's a bit of a difference that from the experience of a live audience and those that might be viewing it online, coming on April Fool's Day?
I mean, I think there will always be. I I mean, I love live theatre and I want the shows I make and see to feel live, which is why I want the audience to play such a key part in it as well. And obviously, watching something online will never be the same as actually being in the room, even though it's a great alternative for people who may not be able to be there. Um, and we are trying to find some ways to incorporate people so people will be able to, type in the chat and still join in some of the sort of like audience participation moments. Um, but I mean, there will always be differences, but I do think the show still lends itself quite well to being streamed, thanks to it being so interactive.
Exactly. I mean, actually, that was going to be my next question. What kind of steps have you taken to really maximize, I guess, the experience of the online audience? But you've already partially made aware of that, and I don't really want to delve any further into this to avoid any spoilers for anybody who might be dialing in, as it were, in the next few days. So just on to the next question. Very interesting about this is that I'm always very interested by how improv works. Obviously, that's very dependent on how the audience reacts, to in the moment. So because of the spontaneity of it, how easy or difficult is it, from the experience to really come up with something that is very witty and very spontaneous in the moment?
I I've done quite a lot of improv in my past. I love sort of comedy improv. I've performed that quite a lot, so I really really enjoy it. And I do think that when an audience sees that you're handling something in the moment rather than when it's rehearsed, and as long as you do it quite well, they will just really warm to that more than they ever would to something that was like really rehearsed. So in that way, I do think it's really fun. And I guess, yeah, I mean, I just love that feeling of it being very live when the audience don't know what's going to happen and you don't always know what's going to happen either. And I think that just adds to the excitement and means the show is really fun for me to perform. Even though like having done the show many, many times now, it always is different and there are always new things to it and a new cast to it every night.
Yeah, and actually, very interesting. Actually, what I'm keen to hear is, in your opinion, and obviously, no name is mentioned, so they shall remain safe and anonymous online. What is the funniest or outrageous thing that people have done in these kind of performances that you have witnessed?
I mean, I was amazed because I was quite worried beforehand because the audience have to play a few parts, and I was quite worried about like how well will they do that, or like will they get it straight away? Will there be like long pauses when they don't understand what they're doing, or will they be very hesitant? But actually, people just deliver, and the audience gets so behind them and really cheers them on. So yeah, I've just been amazed at how well people have actually done it. Um, well, we've had some like amazing performances. Sometimes they will start like ad-libbing almost a bit too much. We're like, come on, stick to the script. But I think York was probably the best for it actually, or the wildest, because one of the performance, one of the performances we actually had the guy who played Diana's dad. He did cartwheel, did a cartwheel across the stage, which has not happened before. And if you're going to see the show, you do not have to cartwheel during it. We don't
I
expect
can't
that. But that
remember
was just
actually. Was it actually mentioned that he should do it, or whether he just decided to do
well,
one anyway?
we mentioned a backflip at one point, so I think he just like ran with it and made it even bigger and wilder. Um, and we also had like one of the in the other show in York, the woman who played Diana's mum in the show, um, was completely wild. Never had anything like it. Like she was, yeah, because there's this scene where I don't want to tell too much, but where they hold up a sheet and
Hmm.
they talk a bit, but she was just like adding so much physicality, throwing everything at it. Was like completely wild and bonkers, which was just amazing.
Oh yeah, I mean, when I saw that scene coming, I did think like, oh, is there age restriction to the show? Maybe you should think about introducing one. No,
I mean, we
actually, is there? I
recommend
can't
it
remember.
18 plus, but I don't think there's
Ah,
no actual, like, people don't actually see anything. There's nothing bad happening. And obviously, if you're not a fan of audience participation, you're never forced into anything. It's very much a case of like asking people if they want to.
That's actually something that's very worth a while to clarify, actually. So if people do not want to participate, they are given the option to not do it, right? To opt out of this.
Yeah, exactly. Like we never forced it upon someone. It's always done like in a very safe and fun environment. And even though we like push the concept of audience participation quite far at times, we never try and make anyone feel like unsafe or uncomfortable. The joke is never on them. They're always in on it, I think.
Yeah, and I would completely agree with what you've just said. Having seen that once live, you don't make anyone feel uncomfortable. So just want to spread this information out there to anyone who's watching this, that you are not forced into this. Nothing's
Yeah.
uncomfortable. So just please just go along and give this a chance because it is immensely fun. And actually, if you like this kind of thing and stand up in front of a small audience, then go in and do it. It's absolutely amazing experience. I mean, I don't have the guts to do that, but I will encourage you to do this. um, so
Thank you.
I
Thank you
guess,
so much.
and I guess just to finish it off as well, as a personification of Lady Di herself. So, is there anything that you want to say to your fans now that you have this opportunity to maybe channel her through the screen?
Oh gosh. Oh wow. Um, I guess Lady Di was very much about highlighting issues and being honest about, things that often we wouldn't talk about, whether that was illnesses like AIDS or mental health or like her own eating disorders and stuff. So I think it would just be a case of embrace who you are, be yourself, and you're great, and you've got this. I think those kind of messages are very much in the spirit of Lady Di. Um,
Yeah, yeah, that's actually fantastic to hear. And I think that's very much what Lady Diana would have encouraged everyone to have the way that she would encourage people to think. And um, I mean, you had a very interesting take on the royal family as well, obviously. So let's hope that they enjoy the humor should they come across this in during the run of the show. So yeah, so I think that's very much a wrap up as to what I would like to cover today. Hopefully, that is enough of a taste for the audience who might be coming along to see the show. But before we wrap up and close, Linus, do you want to say a little bit on where the next few shows are and what the future plans are for this production?
So yes, we are going to Belfast where the show will be live streamed. We're performing in Belfast Friday, Saturday. On Saturday, it will also be live streamed. So if you're watching it live online, you'll be able to join in as well. But even if you can't watch it live, the stream will be up for a few weeks after as well. Then next week, we are in London at Two Brewers in Clapham. And then we're also going to Norwich and Madder Market Theatre. And then we have Cardiff, Manchester. We're actually adding some dates in Manchester for the coronation weekend. It's about being announced very soon, so I'm telling you here first. And we're also going to Cardiff, Manchester, and Penzance. That will be the end of this tour. But then we are taking the show to Edinburgh Fringe for all of August, which is very exciting.
Are you taking just the show to Edinburgh Fringe, or actually is there another one you're taking to Olga to Fringe as well?
Very good question. I am actually taking another one as well. So my previous show called How to Live a Jellicle Life, Life Lessons from the 2019 hit movie musical Cats. Yeah, very catchy title. That is going to Edinburgh Fringe as well. So we'll be doing both shows. Diana is there for the full month, and then Jellicle is there for the second half of the month. So if you liked, I mean, I think if you liked either of them, you'll probably enjoy the other one as well, because they're both very stupid, queer, joyful show with some audience participation, though in a fun and safe way. So I'm really excited for what this year has to bring for us.
Fantastic. So I will be sharing some of the links to your tours, as part of this as well in the written version and also on YouTube. So you can hopefully, if I can figure out how to do this, you should be able just to click on those links that I put up there to take you right places to book your places. And Linus, just want to say massive thank you. And I am intending to go to Edinburgh Fringe this year, so maybe I'll see you there in person.
Ah, Oh, that would be wonderful, see. Thank you.
Yeah, no worries. And okay, I'm going to stop the recording here. Thank you for coming along, and thanks for watching this, everybody who's joining us online. And thank you. Bye bye, Linus.
Yeah, good. Thank you so much.